Hi, my name's Jason. I'm doing this video finally because the truth really needs to be told. We're Americans, and there's an American way of life, and if people want to doubt the information that I'm about to provide, so be it. You can doubt it all you want. You can look it up for yourself. You can go to any library. It's written right there in the books. Our politicians and lobbyists, they've written it. So this here is our real national dictionary. It's called the Black's Law Dictionary. And this holds all the legal definitions that most of the courts use, the judicial system. But there's one word that we need to be concerned about right now that pretty much proves that we are property to the U.S. government, and that we are corporations, and that we are slaves. Because if you agree to be a corporation, you agree to be property. If you agree to those, you're agreeing to be a slave. We are human beings. That we are. But the one thing we are not, it's right here, you can see it, is an artificial person. Right there. It says it right there in the book. And you can look this up. Definitions are all the same. They might have a few different tweaks, but artificial person, an entity such as a corporation created by law and given certain legal rights and duties of a human being, a being, real or imaginary, who for the purposes of legal reasoning is treated more or less as a human being. An entity is a person for purposes of the due process and equal protection clauses, but is not a citizen for the purposes of the privileges and immunity clauses in Article 5, Section 2, and in the 14th Amendment. So there's that. So right there, that probably raises a lot of questions. A lot of questions. How did this happen? How did, they can't consider us property. We didn't agree to this. The truth of the matter is, yes, you did. See, when you're born, well, let me back up. Declaration of Independence clearly states that we're all equal. Okay. That guy over there, he might have built that house. He might have mined all that gold. And that's his. He earned it, and that's his wealth. But as the people, as one entity, we are all equal. So we all have a share in that equally. If one guy's down, the money that guy pays in taxes goes to the government. The government helps that person get back up on their feet. That's how it's supposed to be. Well, if we're all equal, then we all have a piece of the land equally. That seems right. Well, your real bond, and I'll get back to this because this is my first YouTube video, and I'm not accurate as to where in the Constitution it says, but it does say in our Constitution, a person shall receive their bond when it matures. Now, where's this bond? What is it? Your bond is your real birth certificate, your American birth certificate. It's being held at the Treasury Department until you die, until that corporate entity that you claim to be dies. That's where it is. Now, what's a corporation? A corporation is anything that is in all capitalized letters. So when you're born, your parents are tricked into signing a birth certificate at a hospital that you're born at. That hospital encourages you to sign it because they're getting paid $7,000 by Social Security for you to sign your name. So you take that, you're not quite it yet though. They say to have a job you need a social security number. Well, yeah, in the system, on the grid, you do. There are some jobs under the table that you can work, and you won't have to worry about the system. There is a lifestyle out there. People just forgotten about it. Back in the Civil War, well, let me finish this first part. I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. I don't want to get anybody confused here, but I will go back to the beginning. I will progress to where we're at now. When you take that birth certificate to the Social Security office, you contract yourself into into hire. You are hiring yourself. You're contracting yourself for work. But what you're doing is you're creating a second class citizenship for one. Two, that second class citizenship waives your rights to counsel. You ever been in court and the judge, uh, they don't do it too much anymore, but some states are different. They still might, some might do it, but I've been there and they've done this. They say to you, you understand you waive your rights to counsel. Well, at first they would say you waive your rights to counsel. People don't understand. They want them explained. The judge explains. Then they realize, oh, okay. Well, yeah, I have to waive my rights. And okay, next time I come here, I'll have my rights and my liberties. I won't be stuck with privileges and immunities. Let's go. Let me just go back to the Civil War. Okay. After the Civil War, uh, Abraham Lincoln, he created the corporation, is what he called it, and he needed a. The North was broke from the Continental Railroad. We were in debt with France and still Britain, of course. France with the ships, and Statue of Liberty turned out pretty good. That was just a token of the success of the war. But we were so broke, Abraham Lincoln didn't want to give up the property back. You know, he didn't want to give up the property. We were already freed. We wanted to remain that way. So he created a sort of a system to help pay off the debt. But before he could pay it off and close it, he did have intentions of closing it down. He got shot in the back of the head in the theater. That's part of the reason why. It wasn't just about breaking slavery, with fighting the South. It was about resources and territory. A lot of people can figure that out for common sense. But the idea was that African Americans, under the 14th Amendment, would be given certain legal rights, just like anybody who else who is has like a person with inalienable rights. But the problem was they took an American citizenship and changed it to a United States citizenship in all caps. You no longer had a name upper and lowercase like you learned in school how to sign your name. Now your name is in capitalized letters. It's on your mortgages, it's on your birth certificate. That's the start of it all, but it's on your license and it's on your social security card. It's on your bills. It's everywhere. Everything you own is incorporated. It's all property of the government. Somebody else owns it. The governor, you could say, for instance, the governor actually owns it all, but something owns him as well because he's a high federal officer. Like we're all federal officers according to the Black's Law Dictionary. It says it right there, and it's under citizen. You're a federal officer and you have specific duties. Even a secretary is a federal officer. But this whole time we've had two presidents. We've had two paradigms, a nation on top of a country. The country came first. The nation came after. And the gold and silver standard put our republic government out of office, understaffed, and they've been in the dark because the system owns the media. It's I come up to you and I have in one hand your freedom, and in the other hand I have a sandwich. You take the sandwich, even though you made it possible that that sandwich even existed. So I'm the government and you're an American citizen, okay? You come to me and say, "Hey, I'm free and I want to hire you to work for me. I want you to take our money. that we make, the wealth that we make, and I want you to distribute it towards things we vote for. Building streets and building lights and building cars and things that we like, things that we vote for. Well, I turn around and I say, okay, for you to use it, I need you to sign this contract. So we have an agreement so that you hire me and I hire you. And there's a clash there. The presidents and, well, except for Reagan, he did make a surplus, but that was I don't believe that our debt's never been paid off. The debt's never been paid off. We haven't had, even the guy from the Supreme Court said there's hasn't been any gold in the Federal Reserve since 1936. That's a long time ago. It's a lot of years ago. Well, not that long ago. Actually, it's not that long ago, but it's not that long after it was opened. Okay. Waco, Texas. The guy who got bombed in his house. That guy was a true patriot. He was an American citizen practicing all of his rights. The problem was he was preaching to too many people. He was opening too many people's eyes up of what this country was founded to actually be. It is a social experiment. I don't want to bring the Bible out, but in Genesis chapter 6, it talks about the fallen angels coming in, which were the Nephilim, coming and producing hybrids with our women, having children with our women, and the Son of Man, which is us, having children with our women. So this whole idea that there's reptilians, that I don't know, it seems plausible because of the Bible. It seems like it could be realistic in a general sense because after all, we are our own species on a planet that seems to be quiet in the universe. We have no neighborly communications with any extraterrestrials or aliens or fallen angels, as they used to call them, day-to-day basis. Not like, hey, John from outer space, how are you doing? Haven't seen you in a couple days. How's the flight around the moon going? Or around the solar system? How's the other galaxies looking? There's none of that. And it raises questions for me all the time. Why not? We are fully capable of having free energy. We're fully capable of having a better life for everybody. But people just need to, they're afraid to say, well, oh, there's nothing we can do, or I just don't care, I'm happy with what I got. Okay, there'll be we do have a conscience, and it will go somewhere when we go. And if there is a spiritual council up there, don't you want to make sure that you're on the right road? You're not going to be forced into subjection. I mean, all this music and all this television that they have, the media, the whole entire media industry has us in a brain fog, a sleep mode where they're controlling our minds by having us watch this stuff. And you can say all you want, oh, they don't control my mind. I'm not under mind control. Really? Do you watch that favorite show of yours? Do you dress like that favorite celebrity? If you do things like that, they have you under mind control. Nike in Chinese stands for to abuse your employees. And I see people wearing Nike shirts, Nike shoes, and I asked them, I said, do you understand what it means to wear that? Whether you understand it or not, you're promoting symbolism. And that itself is promoting tyranny. They get paid, the women out there who work in those sweatshops get paid 17 cents an hour. Look it up on YouTube. The workers there will tell you. If they even talk to one another, they get their mouths duct taped. It's a really sad world. And the royal bloodlines are supposedly the political people who put all of this together. So you have, this world, this planet Earth with all these countries, and a lot of them aren't as free as we are. well, what we think we are, because they didn't invade us, they infiltrated us. It's a mold. It's just growing and growing and growing, and eventually people are gonna snap and say, "Oh, wow, now I see what's going on. Yeah, I knew something was going on. Everything's right. David Icke was right. George Norrie was right. Sean Hannity. There's many more that I just um, I could sit here and talk about, but the key issue here is they wrote this book, okay? And if they want to say there's no such thing as a person, well, what the hell? First of all, what is a person? Why wouldn't you just label people as human beings in the Constitution? Why do you have to label words as person? That doesn't even sound right. Why? It makes no sense to me. You wrote this book, you label us artificial people, artificial persons, uh, rights and liberties as a human, that are real or imaginary. So you agree to be real or imaginary. There's going to be a war in our country. No doubt about that. We bombed Japan not too long ago, over 40 years ago. It was in the 1900s. We bombed Japan, and we killed a lot of them. What makes you think that bombs might not drop here because they're worried about what we built here? What progress we've made? The progress that we think we've made has been in existence for thousands of years. We're being taught to build scraps compared to what's really out there. We should have free energy. We should have our own little place with our own little gardens. And veganism isn't something new. It isn't something that people are trying out for the first time. Veganism was around for almost forever. It was just the way things were. And then in 19 was it 72? Yeah, somewhere around there. A guy named Earl Butz was hired by Nixon, President Nixon, into the USDA Department of Agriculture as secretary of this department. His job was to go around to all the big farms that were going out of business and basically subsidize them, but give them opportunities to make a lot of money as long as they use these chemicals. If they didn't use the chemicals, well then they would have to just grow organic, and it would cost them their farms, their land, and they would just go out of business. And any person with in that time who wasn't, we didn't have internet, so without a clear conscience, without any moral common sense, they said, "Oh, hey, we're gonna make a lot of money here. We can take care of ourselves and just grow our own food and let people decide for themselves whether they want to eat this or not." They went ahead and did it. They grew them bigger, they grew them fatter, but with more chemicals and more additives. And I was born in 1986, so you can see they had a lot of years to experiment and mess with our food. And I grew up into a system that just destroyed uh, my family's moral way of thinking. My mother died from kidney failure. I have it now. I've been on dialysis for 2 years. A year of it was on peritoneal. This past year has been hemodialysis. I see a lot of hype on YouTube about, oh, you don't have to take it, you can just get off of it. They're cleaning your blood, but it's not cleaning your blood. It's taking out all the good and leaving the bacteria in there. If that were now, just let me say for once, let me say this. there is something very, very wrong with our medical industry, and especially the dialysis centers, because I was peeing a lot better before when I was on peritoneal than now when I'm on hemo. They pull a lot more fluid. I can feel it. But as far as them leaving bacteria in my body, I don't know if that's true. I can't say that's true. If it were, and my kidney function is that low, then my body would be rotten from the inside out by now, because you just can't leave bacteria in your body without taking it out. For over a year, they just been pumping it all back into me. My body would go, my kidneys would be so abused. I just don't believe it. But the Bible talks about, they said that the Bible talks about this herb. I'm gonna try it out. I figured I might also post this now. That way, if it does work, I can help other people. I do plan on seeing Dr. Sherry Tenpenny from Cleveland, Ohio soon. She doesn't even know of my existence. I haven't spoke to her. I haven't contacted her, but I do plan on calling her in the morning. It's 3 a.m. on the dot. I don't sleep a lot. I do a lot of research. Um, there is a lot of weird stuff going on our planet. I do believe in aliens. I do believe that they're already here. They've been here. I do believe that they are the royal bloodlines. Um, that's why we have a Queen of England. You might as well just call her the Queen of the world, because there's only one queen in the world, and then she's it. And the Pope, uh, we have a prince. I mean, I know it's scary for people to think about it, but you gotta understand, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. This is a doorway that when it's closed, another one's gonna open. And if I go to a spiritual council when my body dies, and they ask me whether I want to come back here or not, I'm sorry, but the choice matters. I'm saying no, because I've went through some horrific stuff in my life already, and humanity is too ignorant and too cruel whenever they are given everything for free. We've been given all this junk for free, and all we want is the next best thing. We want the prettiest girl. We want we want money. We want power. We want material, a lot of materials. We want the best car, the best cell phone, the next, the next, the next, the next. We're never satisfied with just one thing. I mean, I've grown to be like that. I'm looking for, not that this matters, but to get on a personal level, I'm looking for someone with quality. I do not care uh, where they're from. I do care about how well they take care of themselves and how critical they think. But as far as their past, people can change. This world can change in an instant because the universe is nothing but love. I believe that because I believe as the people, as one, we're as just a human beings, we are looked at as cattle. We are looked at as slaves, and we can love one another if we unite together. But these entities that are angry and mean are they some of them Beyonce, Kanye West, they said they sold their souls to the devil. Even uh, what's her name? I'm glad I can't think of her name because I don't like her at all. But she was one of the new singers. They sold their souls to the devil. They're possessed by demonic spirits. I felt like I've had that experience a couple times where I would just shout out in anger for no reason, and all of a sudden it would go away, and you just don't know. But at some point, you gotta realize that we are much more capable of taking control of our own planet than to letting it slip in the hands of an entity that's going to use us as cattle for whatever they want us to whatever they want us for. Imagine a different being standing in front of you with some crazy futuristic weaponry, forcing you to dig holes all your life, for the rest of your life. And just a week ago, you were sitting on your couch eating chips and watching television, and then going to sleep, getting up for work, uh, and then having a beer with your buddies at the bar. I mean, all that stuff can change really bad. Obama's the last key. He's gonna, he's the guy who's gonna stir it all up with a big smile on his face. He's the guy that they picked. He's the finale. He's the one that can keep his composure. I will say this. Um, the Gerson therapy, that definitely works. I it's also the reason why they're trying to they genetically modified our crops, and they just put all this bad stuff in our food. McDonald's French fries has HBPQ, which it was a carcinogen and derived from petroleum. If you take a magnet and put cereal in a bowl of water, the cereal would follow the magnet. It's got metallic iron in it, which is very, very toxic to your body. And if you want to see it uh, um, come out of there, come out of the cereal, just put it in a blender, uh, half the bag, be fine. Put some water in there, blend it up, put it in a Ziploc bag with the magnet already in there. Let it soak for 10 minutes maybe. Maybe not even that long. 5 is fine. And you'll see this black substance go onto the magnet. And uh, put the bag in a bowl, cut the end off, take a hair dryer and dry the magnet down, and then you'll be able to push the flakes off, the metallic iron off of the magnet, and see it move around. Now, why? If we gave our government unlimited jurisdiction, according to our Constitution, unlimited jurisdiction over their own property. That means with whatever property they possess, what they own, they can do whatever they want with it. So there you can see they look at us as property because they label us as property, and we've agreed to be property. So they can take our food and do whatever they want to it. They can make it so that we don't think the right way, we're less conscience able, our bodies are more polluted. I mean, those who eat, semi poorly and do a lot of exercise, they're slipping by. Those who just give up entirely, those are the people you see that are obese. They have on diabetes with heart attacks and all these surgeries. I shouldn't even be up this late, but I am. I feel like I'm growing insomnia because of the stuff that's going on. And the New World Map shows that Michigan Lake's going to flood through Illinois, which is where I'm at currently. But I'm going back to Pennsylvania in a couple weeks because when this stuff happens, with a, I'd rather die under fire. I don't want to drown. I don't want to get hit by a wave. No, that's not how I want to go out. Really, to be honest, I want to go out on a gunfight, but I don't think we're capable of that right now. They've got our weapons on a hold. You can buy a gun, but you can't get the ammo right now. And it's funny, Homeland Security just ordered 1.7 million, or maybe billion, rounds of hollow point ammunition. I wonder what they're prepared for. A World War III is coming, but we'll have a civil war here at the same time. And the collapse is what's gonna spark it, because martial law is gonna go into effect. I mean, we're in an information age right now, where the people have the internet, and the people in power have the intranet, and they're trying to suppress all this information and debunk it. And I'm sure they pay a lot of people to get online and say, yeah, I tried this and I tried that, and it's it doesn't work, and this guy's lying and this guy's lying. If you need $3,000 to pay your mortgage so you can live at your house for another 10 years, uh, and you just happen to be picked to support something that some agenda that you don't know about, and the guy just says, "I'll give you $3,000 just to say this." Well, yeah, of course somebody would do that. Why wouldn't they? At this present moment, I probably would too, but I would come clean about it. I couldn't hold on to it like that. I would take it and I'd come clean about it, and I would face the consequences. But I wouldn't use it for a mortgage. I would take that and just. Now I know it's getting late. 31 minutes. I look up the video for the Chinese report on Nibiru, that planet that's coming. I believe it. I mean, I believe it's just another solar system that comes close to ours every so often. And when it does, there's another race there, which is the Anunnaki. And at some point a long time ago, some of them were exiled. And the ones that were exiled wanted to rule our planet. And when they come back, they're going to try and fight them off. We're going to go at war with them against us, but it's really going to be us against ourselves and them trying to help us. So it's going to be this huge mixture and huge confusing type of war, and people are just going to panic. They're not going to know what to do. I watched a movie recently called The Purge. Things might, you know, that is a realistic type of scenario where things could be like that, but people would never agree to it. And I realize it's never going to be up to us what the politicians agree on, what we vote for as far as presidential electorals. And it'll never be, the only thing we can do is transition slowly into different choices. When you become critically conscious, when you understand things that you shouldn't do, that you shouldn't intake, as far as information and food and environmental areas, you start to make critical choices that change your life. And when more and more people do that, the system that holds chains on our wrists starts to crumble on its own away. If everybody started growing their own little gardens and just really, really sticking to it and just becoming a community. This guy makes the watermelons in this season. This group of people, they take care of the lettuce. We don't have to worry about that. But we also have this guy having backup lettuce just in case. Or, and turnips and cauliflower, uh, jalapenos, peppers, bananas, fruits and vegetables. If everybody were to do that, transition, that the whole food industry would crumble, people's health would go back to normal. And this is true. Uh, during during Hitler's time, when he took all the food from all the cattle from the people, and all the poultry, after he gassed his military, when he took all this from no, before he gassed his military, he took all the poultry from the people. The people were left to starve. They had to go back to being plant-based diets, eating off silver spoons. The silver is actually a germicide. It can kill cancer, and it can do many other things. and cancer is in people's body, and it growing is just the way of it saying it's telling you that you're doing something wrong to your body. But the women who were in their second trimester uh, of pregnancy, the womb had a mind of its own. It felt a need to know what was going on the outside, and whether it's nutritional and plentiful of good air and nutrients. And when a woman starved, the body would would hold in a lot of a lot of nutrients. I mean, it would hold on to a lot of everything. So women became naturally just bigger after pregnancy because their body was trying to it was starving itself. The body was being starved, so it was holding on to everything it could like a reserve. But the people who went on plant-based diets, who had diabetes, had cancer, and hypertension, all these chronic problems, it all just started to fade away because at that point there wasn't any chemicals in the air like the aluminum that they're spraying all over us, which is bad. And you people can deny it. They're not. They aren't denying it. They're admitting it. Even the scientists who created the chemicals for the chemtrails, they even said, yeah, there's aluminum in it, but we haven't studied it yet, or the effects of its dangers on human beings. And the people who were questioning them in the conference were like, well, why not? You know, what are you doing? Do you see the big picture here? I mean, I'm trying to make this a little bit more clear because I do jump around a lot. But you got to see the big picture. We are creating this problem. We're the reason for Bolivia and Ecuador being starved. The black folks down there having no food. That's because of us. We had economic hitmen go down there and put up plants and put in water systems and give them a system of their own. And just like us, they got poor. They can't afford it. Well, they came in and took their oil and their resources. But they are more starved than we are because we are the huge giant machine. We're one giant nation that's just a big running machine. There are a lot of people that are just too far out there. They're doomed. I hope the best for them. I just hope high spirits that whenever they do go, that they don't put their heart in Jesus Christ. Jesus is not his real name. It's Jesus. And I would not even pray to Jesus or worship Jesus. Jesus means to in the image of Zeus. Zeus is the god of war and Hades is his son. The real actual transliteration from Hebrew or from the real scripture is Yeshua. And they try to say, oh, Jesus is the transliteration of Yeshua. No, Yeshua is the transliteration. King James wasn't allowed to change anything in the Bible or in the New or Old Testaments, and yet he did. He changed outer space to heavens. He changed the messengers from outer space to angels, and he changed the gods or Yahweh to and Yeshua to Jesus Christ, and he just specifically put the God or God. So people are actually not worshiping the right entity, the right spirit out there, and it's frightening because there are demonic spirits in this world, and there are a lot of other type of beings that are running the show. Look at the poker tournaments, for instance. I don't remember the guy's name, but his eyes, there was something wrong with his eyes He was demonic, and he was able to read people's minds. And he won the world championship for $1.7 million. All because he read the guy's cards. And he read the deck. He knew what card. He even said to the guy said, "How do you feel right now?" He said, "I knew I was going to win." He knew. If he didn't know, if he knew he was going to lose, he would have folded. He would have kept it going until he got the right cards. Look at the guy from Sports Center. His eyes have a vertical slant in it. There's no making it up. I mean, a lot of stuff out there is fake. I'll give it that. But some of the detail and quality of the videos and the stories and even the scriptures talk about serpent beings. In the Garden of Adam and Eve, Eve picked the fruit from the tree of good and evil, or the tree of knowledge, knowing good and evil. She had intercourse with an extraterrestrial, and it created a hybrid race. And technically, we are part reptilian. We have a reptilian part of our brain. Our mitochondria has been fused together. The only way to do that is through cross-genesis. And that long ago, without the technology we have today, there had to have been a god or some superior being to do something like that to us. And a lot of the animals on our planet are 12-stranded DNA. We are only 2. So we cannot communicate the way they can with each other. Whales can communicate with each other all across the world. Not anymore, thanks to us. As the people around the world, we've killed more than half of them. Almost, well, actually, they're almost extinct because we were eating them. I think this is sum it up for now. Anybody wants to leave a comment, feel free. I'm not a big preacher. I'm a prophet. I'm a prophet who's on the verge of probably going to be alongside everybody else when shit hits the fan. So, yeah. Good night, everybody. I'm done.